Hi, and welcome to this short review of our pilot experiment on the use of flipped classroom pedagogy on the basic level course of cellular and molecular biology. My name is Vesa Paine and I'm the responsible teacher of this course. We all know that the massive on-site course is perfect for the teacher. In my life with 18 years of teaching experience, I arrange 4 hours of planning time for each lecture hour, so 20 hours of lectures need 100 hours of working load. However, in student perspective, the reality is completely different. Even this kind of small lecture room, the last row cannot see letters smaller than half feet. Furthermore, calendar problems are not rare for the students, for which they cannot participate on all the lectures. Finally, as we all are only human beings, these on-site lectures can be difficult to follow if our mind is somewhere else. Changing the higher education is not our own idea. There has been a long tradition to put the students work more on their own in several top universities, and these kind of results have been shown recently in the top journals. The reason for this change is not just the fun. We all have faced students with top grades on their undergraduate studies, but notice that they are completely unable to work in the lab. They cannot learn new techniques or working standards. They are unable to fix any problems in the equipment. They seem to be uninterested to make small-scale research plans. The change in the education should be done in our university, as one of our outspoken goals is to be the leading learning environment in Finnish universities. This is the reason we started 2015 flipped pedagogy program with over 40 teachers covering all kind of university level teaching, anything from physics to orthodox theology. Now this program has expanded as 60 more teachers are enlisted on it, and most of us first rounders are doing our best to help all the other teachers to modulate their courses more student oriented. To put the flipping short, traditionally, our teaching starts with teacher working with PowerPoint presentation and the information is delivered during the lecture, after which student will summarize the learning in MOODLE exercises or PDF files. However, in flipped classroom, the lectures are recorded to video presentation and students will watch the lectures with their personal timetables. The contact time will be held after the students are already familiar with the subject. This will help us to work with applied and more demanding learning activities. However, the disadvantage is that now the teacher should speak the lectures in front of a monitor, not to the live audience. The course of cellular and molecular biology has been merged from 3 courses held on 2 campuses as the departments of biology and environmental sciences joined together. About 90 students in Joensuu and 60 students in Kuopio enlisted on the course, which was challenging the on-site interaction as these campuses are located 2 hours drive from each other. Furthermore, half of the students were taking it as their minor subject, and many of them did not have any biology courses in their high school studies. To increase the heterogeneity of the student population, the course was participated not only by the first-year students, but many seniors with more or less credits in our mother courses of biochemistry, cell biology, and genetics. And the students were not making only one course with these lectures, but actually they had 3 individual goals to fix their curriculums. Thus, instead of video interactions on a massive on-site course, we used flipped classroom for this course. The students were able to watch and re-watch the lectures on their computers, tablets or mobile phones, and make short MOODLE exercises to test their knowledge on the subject. They were also able to familiarize on the subject with portable podcast programs that summarize the main content. Furthermore, for interactivity purpose, we had weekly exercises with the students for teacher-student and student-student discussions and podcast interviews to use the specific knowledge of professionals on the course teams. The course had not only large heterogeneous target group, but also a large goal: fundamentals of biochemistry, cell biology, and molecular biology. Everything between basic principles of organic compounds to the induction mechanisms of cancer. The course was based on the first 500 pages of Campbell biology, and according our preliminary calculation, it should last for about 50 hours of lecturing. This was reduced by 1/3 with video lecturing, beside which around 4.5 hours of podcast programs was distributed for the general public. As each student was also able to have 12 hours of exercises, the total time for interaction was exactly the same as in the traditional on-site teaching. However, the course also contained an online discussion forum, which was increasing the time students can absorb the information. This made it also possible to give feedback on the problems or ask questions not only from the teachers but also from the other students. Because of the heterogeneity of the student population, we made the exams in smaller parts and decided to have an optional alternative way to pass one of the 3 exams with a long essay on a given subject. This seemed to help some students struggling with the cell biology course for years, but the essay was decided demanding enough to limit the number of students choosing this option. Yet one difference between the course and traditional on-site course was the feedback for every answer on the exams. Although being time-consuming activity, this seemed to be a perfect way to coach the students individually and give them recommendation for the future exams. Can we then just record our lectures and make everybody happy? The answer is yes and no. The optimal length for video lecture is something between 10 and 20 minutes, and longer videos tend to have technical difficulties to watch. Thus, the old lecture should be divided in smaller parts, which can be recorded and watched separately. Furthermore, the material shown in these online lectures is not limited to PowerPoint presentations. We have added short homemade videos to clarify the subject and used other computer programs to show the analysis. Thus, this method is perfect for introducing students to analyze programs, etc. However, we have not used video screen of the lecturer as the video and audio signal are hard to synchronize in our server. What about videos without the picture? As students might not always have access to Moodle, or they can have activities like traveling or jogging, when concentration on visual signal can be impossible, we wanted to give them podcast programs to listen whenever they are or where they want doing. The podcast means an on-demand radio program delivered via internet. These audio files can be ordered to cell phones freely from commercial distribution companies like iTunes or SoundCloud. This also means that these programs cannot be only used by our students and listed on the course, but actually anyone in this whole planet. Thus, high school students reading material for the matriculation exams can use our radio programs for their learning process. Several studies have shown that online learning is not better or worse than on-site learning. However, when students are learning online without interaction with other students, they cannot use other students as their mentors. This is the reason for having discussion elements on this course. This course contained both online and on-site chatting models. Because being in the same lecture room is something we all are familiar with, the on-site discussion was more popular. We had weekly practice in small groups in which students were able to ask questions from the teacher and work together with their friends on applied tasks like learning coffee, problem-based learning, structural analysis of essay answers. This was maximizing the direct student-teacher interaction. The contact time was used for group work project. These contained problem-based learning in which students were working with difficult projects. Although the students were thinking these tasks demanding, they were able to perform the experiments, and according to their comments, they learned a lot on design and reality of the experimental work. One advance on the electrical learning environment is the ability to track the use of different components. Our video lectures had more viewers than there was participant on the course, and about 100 listeners on each podcast. Each element of the course, biochemistry, cell and molecular biology, had a slight decay on the popularity of the lectures. This means that students were working more time with easier lectures containing fundamental principles and less time on the more demanding and novel themes like enzyme reactions, cell cycle control or biotechnology. To our surprise, podcast events containing radio essays, interviews or discussions were equally popular. What about the schedule of these online activities? In traditional lecture courses, the majority of the students are using their time only just before the exam. Similar trend was also seen in the MOODLE activity and podcast users. However, these log files show that MOODLE content was used also after the exam and actually every day during the course. Thus, some students were studying also during the Christmas Eve. Moreover, the MOODLE activity was more popular after the office hours as the students are focusing the daytime on other activities and watching the videos later in the evening. Actually, the clock information demonstrates that the lectures were watched also throughout the night. The log files demonstrate that the students at least try to pass the course. However, the best criteria for successful of the course is the passing rate and the knowledge of the students. The passing rate of the course was about 70%, but only 20% of the students that had at least tried to pass the exam has failed, and there is more excellent grades than failures. This is not influenced by the easy exams, as each examination was containing more essay questions and wider grading than the earlier on-site courses. Rise in the excellent grades can be affected by the course activity points students got by participating on MOODLE exercises, on-site exercises and discussion forums. However, their effect was on average less than a half grade. How the students get so good grades? We compared the results and noted that main subject of the students did not affect the successful on this course. In comparison, students active during the course had significantly higher grades. To our surprise, short tests done in MOODLE environment and joining the online discussion forum increased the successful in the exam. Moreover, students failing on this course used less days to learn the material in the MOODLE, but their daily activity on the platform was equal with the students getting excellent grades. Thus, passing the course is not depending on the hard work, but on the study skills that can be improved with guidance. We got mainly positive feedback on the course. To our surprise, the course was as interactive as its on-site mother courses. Therefore, online learning can engage the students as well as traditional lectures. Listeners of the podcast gave positive comments and proved useful for their learning process. They also gave valuable recommendations to improve the program. Also, other course modules got extremely positive feedback. Over half of the critics was focusing on the technical problems of the online server. Furthermore, some students wanted to have more contact time and more variable MOODLE tests. These recommendations will be used to improve the course. Thank you.